I wrote a few notes a few weeks ago in response to a video that I saw. It wasn't really directly in response to the video, it just kind of kicked something up in me. The video was a homesteader video, and the man was working with his son, and he was being a little coarse with his son. He was trying to show his son how to be a good worker, basically. You know, putting his son in the position of working for somebody for pay, being a good worker, being a good assistant, you know, and anticipating what's going to be needed next, you know, and getting that stuff ready, etc., etc. So in the course of all of this, he was kind of coarse with his son. Not really, but just kind of ordering him around, and some people took it as being very coarse with his son and wrote him a lot of negative comments. And then he came back a week or so later with a video titled something like, "I'm raising men here, not snowflakes," or some kind of draconian title like that. And, you know, in all honesty, I'd love to be this guy's son if I was choosing an incarnation, to live up in that beautiful wilderness, be out in the woods every day, working in fresh air, going skiing in the winter, and you know, all that good stuff that this kid's able to do with his parents. I kind of worry about someone who's being homeschooled in terms of socialization and all. This kid seems to be doing okay. Anyway, it's not so much about them, but a little voice in my head kind of boiled it down to thinking about my peers and everything else, you know, and why we come to life and what we do and what it's all about, what it's for. So something kind of said to me, did you incarnate to conquer or to merely survive? And I was thinking about that for a while. You know, I've never been a conqueror. I've never been a mover or shaker in life. I never got the girl. I never got the high-paying job. I never conquered the world in that sense, in terms of having nice possessions and a luxurious life, etc. So I guess I am in the just surviving camp, as opposed to the conqueror of the world camp. Did you come to survive or conquer? So I was thinking about that a bit. When I was thinking about the alpha type people, I think for anyone, even if you haven't come to conquer, you still need to push the comfort zone in all regards, really. Strike out the best you can for your physical situation, your social situation, your political, financial, etc. situations. We should push the comfort zone a little. Just to sit in the comfort zone, you're really not achieving anything. But the child who has come to be the conqueror, he's constantly pushing his comfort zone. He doesn't have a comfort zone. So what's right, you know? Is it right to be a survivor? Or is it more right to be a conqueror? And I guess there's third opportunities too. You know, there's none of them good though. You know, there's the guy who just does the littlest he can, a survivor, but in the negative sense of really not pushing his comfort zone ever, living on the bare minimum he can. You know, physically I've kind of done that. Although I've worked, worked very hard. I was able to retire early. So it's not like I've been loafing, but I don't have the trophy wife. I don't have the multi-million-dollar bankroll. I don't have the beautiful homes. But stuff's not super important to me. You know, I'd sure love to have a good woman or companion in my life, but other than my cat. But to tick off accomplishments like that, you know, to have the family, have the beautiful house, I don't know. That's for the alpha types, the firstborns. You know, birth order kind of goes into this, and maybe I kind of always blame my birth order for me being this merely surviving type, because I was a fourth born. I had 3 siblings above me ordering me about, you know, and pushing me about. So the positive side of the one who came to conquer is accomplishments. They have great accomplishments. They can live in luxury. They can provide luxury for others, in their family or their loved one. On the more negative side, they tend to be a taskmaster with themselves. That's how they got all this stuff accomplished. They've kept their nose to the grindstone. The con is these people tend to be bullies. They tend to use their power, not always in the nicest way. The just surviving mode can also be positive or negative. For the one who just loafs about and never really thinks about anything, just watches TV and video games, and if he reads just trivial stuff, basically. Stuff that doesn't make you think, stuff that's bubblegum for the mind. And you never really think about anything, and you're not in a lot of complicated relationships or anything else. That's kind of a waste. It's a wasted opportunity. On the other hand, I'm just in the survival mode, basically. I do try to push my comfort level. I don't do it enough. But I've retired early. I took a retirement when it was offered to me. I don't really have inspiration to get another job at this point. I'm going to have a pretty thin retirement, but I should get by. That's enough for me. I'm more interested in getting into creative things. For the rest of my life here, do something other than sit behind the grindstone all day. And I had a pretty cool job because it was outdoors and out and about. I probably would have gone nuts if I was working in the office all the time. So, and then you think of guys like a priest, a priest takes a vow of poverty. And yeah, I know there's a lot of... Let's just talk about it idealistically and not the actual situation that might be around some people. But, a true good priest takes a vow of poverty and lives with it. He doesn't really care about luxuries. He cares about his flock, and what he can do to help them along. A good priest. So, I really wanted to sum this up with, what really matters after death. Take the far view. Picture yourself on the other side, wherever that may be, astral, spiritual, wherever it is. Floating clouds like the strumming your harp. But whatever your view of heaven is, just think of yourself, and that's immaterial, basically, whatever's in heaven. Think of yourself on the other side looking back at your life. And what really mattered? Did you grow emotionally, spiritually? Does it matter that you achieved a lot of money? You're looking at your life from the other side now. Does all the castles and wealth that one may have gained from striving and being a workaholic all his life, has that really satisfied him? I guess for someone who's got a big family and has got a lot of children to provide for, there's some satisfaction in having done that. And I guess that's one of the reasons I don't have this big drive for heavy-duty achievement and making tons of money, is I never did raise a family. Never found a woman to partner up with, or elsewise, and I've never had children and raised a family. It's not going to happen at this age. And most of us think, oh, we never want to go through this hell again. I would never want to go back to this life again. I want to get out of this life. I don't want to have to come back again. And, I'm even starting to drop that attitude. It's kind of a spiritually mature attitude. I think from the other side, this life is going to look like a bad week in a year, It has little else to it. Something you look back on as a short little time in the context of other lives maybe that you've read and led and now you can see. I think this one lifetime is not going to seem like such a ongoing ordeal a never-ending ordeal. It's going to seem like a blink in the night, basically. And what if there is no afterlife at all? You just die and get buried, whatever. Well, then what you leave behind is your reputation and the love you've demonstrated to others, the hearts you've touched. And what if there is an afterlife that's pleasant, but it's just boring? Horribly boring. Very little to accomplish or to do anything, build anything but castles that are washed away by the tide. What if the other side is just plain boring and you're thirsty to come back, even though you thought you never wanted to come back to this hell? Now you're over there and it's boring. And you're listless. If only I'd done this or that. If only I'd done this or that better. Man, I really need to get back in the game. What if? So to try and summarize to a central point, what really matters to you ultimately? Stop taking the short view and extrapolate a little bit. Think about what the big picture might be. We get so wrapped up in the minutia of daily events that we get distracted from what may be our core thrust in life. Something to think about.